friends, and welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited about this Halloween road sign we're going to make today. Here are the supplies that I used from the Dollar Tree, and along with some paints, of course, my Waverly chalk paints. I just took this Friends Gather Here sign that I did get from the Dollar Tree, and I took it apart. And then I took off all the little hanging tags that were on all of my arrow signs as well. And I got everything prepped and ready to be painted. So I'm just mixing it up a little, and I'm going to paint a couple of them in black, a couple of them in white. I'm going to have a green one to go, I felt, with the Elm Street one really well. And then I'm going to have an orange yellow color one. You will see that there are going to be some rough spots on a couple of these signs. I didn't worry about sanding them down like I typically would, only because it's a road sign and road signs are not perfect. And honestly, I probably would have roughed them up a little bit anyways to give them that look. So I kind of liked it and went with it. I am making sure I'm coloring all of the edges on each of the pieces. I'm not doing the back of them because I know where I'm going to be using this. It's not going to be seen anyways. Otherwise, the pieces that I did tear off of the sign that had the 3 plaques, I probably would have put scrapbook paper on it because otherwise you would have been forced to sand that down to be able to get them painted. But otherwise, I did not do the backs of them. You are more than welcome to. I almost forgot. I am also going to be painting one of the arrows in my Antique Wax by Waverly. It is going to give it a really nice wood grain look. You actually don't even have to put this on with a paintbrush. You could just put it on like you would a stain because it works very similar to a stain, other than you don't have the horrible smell and it don't stain your hands. So I just paint it on like you would a paint, and then I take a paper towel or baby wipe, and then I use that to wipe it down, because you will want to wipe down all of the excess because it's not designed to necessarily be that thick. It's designed to look like a wax or a stain would. So this little small arrow is actually one of that I took off to make my Bates Motel sign. If you haven't seen that video, please go back and watch it. I think you'll really enjoy it. After I was all said and done, I did realize that I felt like this one just looked odd on the top of this sign, and I ended up taking it off and putting one of the larger arrows like the wood one that you can see here that I already have done. I ended up grabbing one of those and using one of those in place of the little one. The little one just looked really odd. It just didn't fit very well on the sign once it was all said and done. So you can know I did go back and did swap that one out. So you'll have to let me know in the comments if you are somebody that actually likes to watch long tutorials to where you can actually see me painting like you are right now, or if you prefer the quicker versions. Like I know a couple of the YouTubers that I follow do, where they will just take a picture of the item and then they'll show you what the item looks like after each individual step. You don't necessarily see them going through each step by step. I personally like the videos where I'm kind of watching them do it. I don't know, if I'm laying in bed at night, I don't know, kind of comforting to just sit and watch somebody paint. Maybe I'm weird. So you'll have to let me know what you think. So, after you have them all painted and the paint has dried, you are going to want to lay them out and set them up the way that you want them set up. This way, I know how long I'm going to need my stake to be. I am going to use the stake that came with the sign that I ripped apart, but I also took the Waverly chalk paint, the antique wax, and I did paint or stain, whatever you want to refer to it as, a 5-gallon paint stir stick that I picked up at Lowe's, and I attached that to the other sign stick so that way it would be longer because it was not long enough for just the short one that I got from the Dollar Tree. I hot glued and stapled that together in order to have a long enough post for this sign. So you'll want to make sure you lay it out before you hot glue it, then just hot glue all the pieces. Once you have them where you like them, just hot glue them in place. So the somewhat anal perfectionist in me did realize I didn't fill in the holes to the small arrow and it was driving me insane. I could not leave those. So I did go back and I did fill them in, let that dried, and I touched up the paint. Just so you know, I did do that if you want to do that before you get this far into the process. Then I printed off all of the names to the signs on my Cricut. You could use a stencil from the Dollar Tree. You could even use the black stickers that come from the Dollar Tree. I decided that I wanted the font to be a little bit different on each one. So I did print them off of my Cricut. And since the couple times I have used my Cricut, I've gone really quickly through the process. I'm just going to show you a little bit how once I have it printed off, I just removed the vinyl that's not going to be needed to where it leaves only the part that I'm actually going to be using. And usually small or really thin letters like this don't come apart very well, but this one did really, really well. So I was very happy. I was very happy about that. And then once I get the larger piece of the unnecessary vinyl pulled back, then I'll go in and I'll do what they call weeding. And I will weed all those little pieces that need to come out in the A's and the L's and the R's and anything that should not be there. Then, of course, I'm going to take my transfer tape. I'm going to stick it on and I am going to peel that off so that way I can stick my names directly on each of the signs that they're supposed to go on. And again, this peeled off really well too. It worked out very easy. And you can reuse the transfer tape more than once, so you get a lot of bang for your buck on the transfer tape. And then I am just going to stick them on each arrow that I had lined up for where I wanted the words to go. And I kind of already knew where I was putting each one because you need to measure it out. And obviously, the longer ones I needed to have on the larger arrows. And then the short one, like that short little green arrow, was a perfect one for Elm Street. And just make sure you have all that laid out ahead of time. It'll make things much smoother. And then I'm just going to stick it on. And then I'm going to go through that same process for every single one. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I hope you will after watching this video. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, hello. I am happy to have you here, and I hope you'll stick around a while. Hit that bell so you'll be notified when I upload a new video. And I am still new at this and learning, but I am excited to have as many of you as possible join me along the way, and it'll only get better from here, I promise. Then I'm just showing you there where I take the transfer paper and I put it back on its little sheet so that way I can reuse it and get multiple uses out of it. I usually get about 3 or 4 uses out of it. And then I'm going to continue and do the rest of them until I have this, my final product. And I love it. It actually turned out better than I was expecting. There was a couple points where I was a little nervous if it was going to look the way I was visioning it in my head, and it does. It's perfect. I love it. It goes great with our Halloween decorations and for my husband who loves scary movies. So I hope you all love it. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll like this video and comment below and let me know what you think. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.